Now, what we're going to be talking about today is how you can boost your online sales via your website. These are 5 things that you can go away and start implementing into your website or your marketing strategy right away to just fully maximize your return on advertisement. Now, it's a no-brainer that stores trying to increase their sales and their revenue invest thousands in trying to acquire new customers or traffic by way of advertisement. And one thing that we've seen across the board is a lot of people fall short, a lot of brands fall short, so I say, in just trying to take care of the basics. So what we're doing in this video is we're kind of going back to basics, and we're just going to outline a few things you absolutely need to be thinking about and implementing into your website or your marketing strategy. Now, what we do at Parker Digital is we actually help brands reach 6 or 7 figures or wherever they're looking to go. Ultimately, brands that have a great product and looking to market more efficiently, we help them. Now, one thing that we've seen while working with our customers is that if you can get these 5 things nailed on your website, then you're going to see a return on your advertisement spends. Now, without further ado, let's just dive straight in and talk about these 5 things that will help you boost your online sales. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about here is AOV, or average order value. Now, average order value is the amount that people are spending with you at one given time. So the average value a customer is spending when they are placing an order. Now, there's a few things here that you can definitely do on your website to try and increase the average order value that a customer is spending. The first thing is implement a free shipping option. Have them spend a minimum amount, whether it is $50 or $100, and then they qualify for free shipping. This then gives the customer an incentive to spend more money with you because they feel like they're getting something of value back for free. Now, it's something so simple, and you'll see a lot of brands doing it already. If you are, great. But if you're not, definitely do consider having a free shipping option with a minimum spend amount. Another thing that you can look to do to increase average order value is looking at bundling your products together. Now, let's say, for example, you sell coffee. You might have multiple items of coffee sold individually on your website, but if you look to bundle packages together at a slightly reduced cost than it would cost them to buy them all individually, that again gives a customer an incentive to buy that product, and they've spent more money with you than what they would have done if they'd only maybe bought 1 or even 2 of those items individually. Now, another way to increase average order value is cross-sells and upsells. Now, you must have heard of this, but if you haven't, cross-sells is when you have items of products that relate to the product that you are looking at. This might be, for example, if you're looking to buy a laptop, a cross-sell opportunity would be to sell you a mouse or a speaker or some USB adapters or whatever it might be. They are products that relate to the product that you are looking at. Now, Amazon do this really well because if you do scroll down on an individual product, you'll see that this item is often paired with, and it will give you some other items that it suggests. Okay, now that is a great way to cross-sell. Now, the other option here is upselling. Now, upselling is slightly different to cross-selling because we're no longer looking at products that will work well with the product that you are looking at. We are looking at an opportunity here to upsell them. So if they are looking at an item, then you might want to upsell them to a more advanced item. Now, that's laptops, but let's say you're selling trainers, and the premise still applies. You could be looking at a fairly budget pair of sneakers or trainers, and then the store might try and upsell you to a more expensive pair of trainers, okay? But if you show them something that's of higher value and of higher quality, they might then also be interested in that, and that's a great way to upsell them, and that's going to ultimately increase your average order value. Now, that was a lot, but we're moving on to the second point, and that is leveraging your existing customer base. Okay, now this is something that I love and we love within the agency, and we feel like that we do this very, very well. But ultimately, what we see is brands spend thousands and thousands on their advertisement and any way possible to acquire new sales and new customers. And what they actually do is they fail to leverage their existing customer base, mostly because they don't know how, or they don't have the time and effort to be able to do it. But essentially, there's 2 ways that you can leverage your customers that we find works really, really well. One of them is emails. Sure, you can send an email out to your audience pool and maybe share with them new products or bestsellers or whatever it might be, but that isn't going to be enough. What you need to do is think about what the consumer potentially wants. What is going to attract them back to your store? What's going to give them an incentive to buy? Often, a small discount or a limited time offer or something like that will be enough to bring them back. Now, leveraging email is great because it's easy and it's very cost effective. The second way that you can also do this is via text message. Now, we love text message because it does go directly to the consumer, and the chances are they are going to see it and they're going to read it. Often emails end up in like a promotions folder, or they just don't get read at all. So leveraging both of these together is awesome, and it's what we call a database reactivation service within our business. And if you can leverage that, honestly, you are going to have some huge success. Like, we've seen brands generate tens of thousands of dollars in less than a month or even just a few days without spending any money on ads. That's how effective leveraging your existing customer base is. Okay, so point number 3 is abandoned cart notifications. And one thing that we see with the clients that we work with is they are all trying to reduce the amount of customers that add to basket and then just leave. Okay, now we get it. It is so frustrating when this happens. But there is one way that you can try to minimize the amount of times this happens, or at least invite the customer back to finish that purchase. Now, ultimately, when consumers are browsing online and are looking at purchasing items, they might be adding to basket with the intention to buy. They might get distracted, they pull away, and then they forget to come back to finish that order. Now, one thing that you can do is set up an abandoned cart notification. This notification could be either via email or text message, just prompting and reminding the consumer to come back and finish their purchase. Now, that's assuming that they are ready to buy. They might be at the stage, the exploration stage, where they're just trying to figure out more about your brand or your products. They may add it to basket because you haven't done something as simple as sharing with them what the shipping cart price is. Now, ultimately, there's a lot of stores out there, especially if you're relying on Shopify, that just calculate the shipping cost in the basket or at the checkout. This requires the consumer or the potential customer to add to their basket to be able to see what the shipping costs are. Now, if you're open and honest and upfront with what your shipping costs are, then maybe they don't reach that stage. And also this goes back to what I was saying in point 1, increasing the average order value. If you can create a minimum order value to get free shipping, then that might not necessarily be a problem. So how do you fix this? Well, it's quite simple. Just install an abandoned cart plugin. Now you can do this if you're on WordPress, Ecommerce, Shopify, or even Magento. They've all got apps that allow you to just plug and play. And anyone that adds to the basket where you have their email address already, you can send them a push notification to say, come back and finish your order. It's honestly a great way to increase sales and revenue on your site. Okay, so point number 4 to increase sales on your website, and this is more of a marketing strategy piece rather than a website critique or tweak. And this is utilizing user-generated content. Now, the single most challenging, expensive, time-consuming thing for a brand is generating their own content. And we've had this quite a lot in our agency, that when we're working with a brand, they just don't have the content to be able to provide us to enable us to do the job that we need to do effectively. And this is honestly a real sticking point, not only for us, but also for the brand. Ultimately, the traditional way to get around this was to either hire photographers to take product shots or rely on stock photography, which is both very, very expensive and time-consuming ways of doing something. But now, in 2022, those things are becoming far less effective. So the alternative thing that we can look at is user-generated content. So user-generated content is essentially what it says on a tin. It is content generated by your users or your customers, let's say. Now, all you have to do is ask your customer base to snap photographs with your product and ask if you can use it on your website or on your social channels. Trust me, they are often delighted to be contacted by a brand of a product that they love and asked to be featured either on their website or on their social channels. So you can actually then use that piece of content as your own and market your products more effectively in a way that resonates with other customers or potential customers that are looking to buy from you. In fact, UGC is 40% more effective than standard branded content and has a 7 times higher engagement rate. And honestly, what better promoter of your product than the people that are purchasing it and love it? Okay, so utilizing UGC is way more effective than standard branded content. And whether you have a content strategy already or not, you definitely want to start looking at implementing UGC because it is way more effective than standard branded content. Now, point number 5 is reviews. Now, a lot of brands still don't do this. They're still not implementing a review system into their website. Now, why is this a problem? Well, ultimately, people buy from brands that they trust. Whether they trust the brand or the product, they want to read firsthand what the experience is like, not only with the product, with the brand. And the best way that you can do that is on your own website. Otherwise, what will happen these days is a consumer will just Google search the product that they're looking for and reviews and go to a brand that is showing reviews for that product. Ultimately, if they stumble on another brand's website, the chances are they're going to buy with them rather than you. So implementing reviews into your website is so important. Now, reviews build trust with you and the product, and ultimately social proof drives sales. Okay, now again, Amazon do this very, very well. A lot of people will read the reviews from Amazon and they're a very trustworthy source. So if you're sat there thinking, well, how do I get reviews on my website? It's quite straightforward. If you are using an e-commerce tool like Shopify, like this will have this feature built in already. You simply just need to turn it on. Now, the tricky thing will be building those reviews up. Now, what you can do is you can leverage your existing customer base and people that have purchased from you and send them an email out to prompt a response or ask them to leave a review. Now you can send this out to your previous customer base, but you can also set this up as an automation that when anyone orders from you, you can prompt them with an email, say 5 to 10 days later, asking them how they found their product and ask them to leave you a review. Now setting up this automation just means that you can leave it running in the background. You don't need to worry about it and your reviews will just build up over time. So there you go, guys. That is 5 pretty straightforward things that you can implement into your business and your brand to start boosting sales online. Now, if you feel like you need any help with anything I've discussed today, or you need to improve your ROI on your advertisement spend, or anything that's going to help you boost sales, feel free to reach out to me directly. I'd love to be able to help you. Or there's a link down below if you want to chat to anyone within the team. We'd be delighted to help you. We do help scale brands to 6 and 7 figures online using our own proven e-commerce strategies. So yeah, I'd be delighted to hear from you. Now, if you haven't done so already, please do hit the thumbs up if you found this valuable. Also hit the subscribe button too if you haven't already. I would super appreciate that. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.